This is not a shot from a James Bond movie. It's from a Madison Beer music video. This is not a shot from a horror movie. It's from a Madison Beer music video. And this is not a shot from a short film. It's from a Madison Beer music video. And all three of these videos were either written by Madison, co-directed by Madison, or both. Not to mention, all of these videos are to songs co-written by Madison. You would think that with such talent, there would be more appreciation for it, but Madison is widely regarded as an underrated artist. Her latest album, Silence Between Songs, debuted with just over 3 million streams, compared to 60 million for Olivia Rodrigo's Guts. And if you look up Madison Beer plus video essay on YouTube, the conversation is usually about her looks and how that's somehow related to her limited success. But Madison is not some pretty Instagrammer who was given a record deal for the hell of it. She's a really talented singer who insists on creative control. And I think her visual storytelling is even more underrated than her music. Out of 19 music videos, Madison co-directed 9, wrote or co-wrote 9, executive produced at least 2, and even self-edited 1. The only videos Madison is not in the credits for are her first 5 and Boyshit. And honestly, she might even be in the credits for those videos, but her YouTube descriptions and IMDb don't really give me that much information to go off of, so this is really just my best guess. In her videos, Madison prioritizes stories over simple fashion shows. She pays homage to iconic film and is even a decent actress. That said, Madison didn't always have this level of control. She rose to prominence after her mom posted videos of her singing on Facebook. A mutual friend connected her to Scooter Braun, who was famously Justin Bieber's manager at the time. Justin tweeted one of Madison's videos and she went viral. At just 13 years old, Madison was signed to Island Records with Scooter as her manager, and she was pushed towards a Disney-fied image. I don't want to spend much time on the Scooter era of her music videos because they're not great. This is before Madison had creative control, and she's repeatedly expressed her dislike for these projects. But very quickly, her first single, Melodies, was released in 2013. It looks straight off the set of a Disney Channel commercial break. She also did a collab with Monster High, and although this isn't her music video, it's another example of the Disney brand they were pushing her to have. A year later, she releases Unbreakable, and this is the only video Madison has wiped from her channel, and I don't blame her. It's the epitome of 2010s Tumblr with the black balloons and boho fashion. While it is a nice message about acceptance, it definitely feels a lot less genuine than her later videos, which are about her actual hardships, not just what feels like a Tumblr post. All for Love is probably the best video we get in this era, which was shot with her then boyfriend. It's cinematic, we have some more mature color grading, she looks great in it, but it's essentially just a car race in the desert. It's especially less interesting when you remember that 8 years ago, everyone was shooting music videos in the deserts. I like Madison's voice in this song, but she never wanted to sing bubblegum pop, so after multiple disagreements over her career, she was eventually dropped by her label at 16 years old. For the next 3 years, Madison was an independent artist before signing to Epic Records in 2019. With the release of her debut EP, As She Pleases, which was titled that way because she could finally do as she pleased, she regained control over her image. Her sound evolved from poppy to dark. Her videos went from Disney Channel to professionally cinematic. And like any good cinema, the most foundational element is a good story. Madison definitely knows how to tell one. She likes to use psychological themes, dark twists, and character arcs to tell the story of her lyrics. For example, the story for her Dear Society video, which was co-directed by Madison, revolves around psychological damage. This video is an analogy for fame. The song explores how, over the course of her career, an image-obsessed culture has mentally hurt Madison, but while she finds social media unhealthy, it's addictive. The music video features Madison in a lab, the unwilling patient of an unethical experiment. A scientist explains that any harm she endures will be worth it for the benefit of society. She should be grateful to contribute. She sits there, pretty, but isolated in a glass box, on display for others to judge. When she protests, she's silenced, sedated, and deemed a failure. The glass box represents fame. The glass is transparent but a barrier. It's easy to judge her because she's a celebrity exposed in the media, but she's distant enough that she doesn't seem like a real person. The box also blocks out noise, so the focus is on her looks, not her voice. The head scientist to me represents social media companies. Remember, he positioned this as beneficial to her, or at least the world. These companies program their platforms to be addictive by preying on the need for validation, which even celebrities aren't immune to. The other workers represent society. They judge her without empathy, much like an Instagram comments section. Madison may be pretty, but she's clearly suffering. She's had to deal with the effects of child stardom and hateful media, among other things. And while that might seem unrelatable, it's still reasonable to desire understanding and dehumanizing when people only focus on her looks. Additionally, Madison's talent is often discounted because of her beauty, and this hyper-focus is frustrating and has negatively impacted her psychologically. Madison has said on today's social media culture, "I also wanted to talk about the effects of this pressure as well as the causes, hearing voices in my head and losing countless nights of sleep, and despite my resentment for this cause and effect, I'm still very much stuck in this life, and I still use it and live it every day." At the end of this video, even though she's a failed experiment, she isn't free to leave her cell. Madison will never not be subject to scrutiny on some level because she's in the public eye, and even though social media has caused her so much pain, she continues to use it. It is addictive after all. I really love this video and song, and I will never forgive her for the fact that this is not on an album. I truly believe that this should be on life support. Anyway, this experimentation storyline continues in the video for Good and Goodbye, which was written, created, and co-directed by Madison. This is also a psychological story since it takes place in a mental simulation, and it has dark twists. This is something Madison loves in a music video, whether it involves surprise death, hell, death, cheating, and maybe some death. In this video, one twist is that this isn't a literal retelling of the song, which is about leaving a toxic ex-lover. Instead of fighting a boy, it's a conflict with herself and, quote, inner demons. A scientist tests her brain to see which side is stronger. Two Madisons fight each other, each representing the left and right side of her brain. This is a reference to the myth that people favor their left brain if they're more logical, or right brain if they're more emotional. My favorite twist, though, is the cinematic opening. Near the beginning, you see the creative, emotional side of Madison play a beautiful piano piece. The camera slowly moves towards her, then pans around to reveal a brutal death scene. Then Pretty Madison is killed, and it turns into a horror movie with evil Madison drenched in this black blood. I love how extreme that tonal shift is. It just sets up the vibe for the video so well. The ending is also a twist because neither side wins and they watch the world end together. And you can see that their last two lives actually join to become one. So both sides are equally strong. You should make peace with your inner demons instead of fighting them. While I love the creativity of this video, I think it's so well done, I do have to point out that she mixes up what each side is supposed to represent. In the video, the left side is emotional and the right side is logical. You can tell by the diagram on the video, and there's a trailer for this music video, and they explicitly call it out.
I created this place to ease the logic of that right brain and the emotions of the left.
But it actually should be the other way around. Like Good and Goodbye, the plot for her Baby video, which was written by Madison, is an unconventional twist on the lyrics. The song is lustful, for lack of a better word, and while this may look like a simple, sexy fashion show, it's really about cancel culture. The story is revealed through a simple character arc. The video starts with an angelic Madison in a heavenly room of clouds. This represents the highs of fame and the pedestal people can put you on. Then she suddenly falls into a hellish landscape. This represents cancellation. But here, she isn't afraid, she owns it along with several other girls. Madison has been the center of drama in the past. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm sure there's other videos and articles out there that you can look up. But in an interview about this video, she explains, "If you guys are gonna make me out to be some villain, I'm gonna do it the best that I can and embrace it and be with other girls who have been a victim to cancel culture." Throughout the video, there are visuals of TVs and glass boxes. Where have we seen a glass box before? To me, this represents how others box people in with no space for nuance. Madison dances in multiple enclosed spaces as if she's trapped but still feeling herself. Instead of fighting the judgment like she does in Dear Society, she embraces it. In one setting, Madison has stripped away her clothes and heels to be very exposed. By the end of the video, The glass boxes break, and this lighter version of Madison walks towards heavenly stairs, so she can rise above the vilifying accusations and climb back to where she started. I like how this character arc is full circle, almost cyclical like the internet can be. She has a similar full circle character arc in Spinnin, which was co-directed and written by Madison. This video is also about psychological pain and also has a twist at the end. She really does enjoy the same themes, and I love the consistency. But I love this video because of how personal it is. This song references an intensely anxious time in Madison's life where she truly felt like her world was ending. The video begins with Madison waking up to a world frozen in time. At first, she's confused, then at peace, then breaks down before returning to bed. At the last second, a frozen bird seems to move again, so was it all a dream? Did the world stop spinning, like she says in her song? This video speaks to the heightened and sometimes warped reality anxiety attacks can create when you start to question what's real and what's in your head. It also shows how being alone with your thoughts can be freeing and terrifying. And in panic mode, you can quickly go from one extreme to the other. I've heard criticism that Madison is impersonal, but I find her to be very open, and specifically about her mental health struggles. She is diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, PTSD, OCD, and panic disorder. And if you want to hear more about her past and her struggle with mental health, I'd recommend listening to her interview on the Call Her Daddy podcast. I don't normally listen to this podcast, but I found her episode to be very insightful. Just be aware that she does cover some dark topics in case you're sensitive to that. Each of these video stories are not only creative, but they originate from an authentic place. To me, this feels incredibly personal. Do you think this is enough, or should she be doing something different? Maybe it's just the people who say that don't really look into her work. Aside from cinematic stories, Madison is also adventurous in cinematic formats. For each video, you are blessed with a different genre of a mini-movie. Home with You, for example, is a documentary style, with trippy editing and found footage mixed with professional shots. It showcases the different types of power girls can hold, since this song is about confidence and saying no. This is the video that Madison edited herself, by the way, and she was only 19. That's pretty impressive to me. Good and Goodbye plays as a video game cutscene with fighting callouts, health meters, and an insane VFX battle. Hurts Like Hell, which was co-written and executive produced by Madison, is a horror film where Madison plays a witch who magically burns an abusive boy at the stake. Reckless, which was co-directed and written by Madison, is a fairy tale fantasy. Showed Me, which was co-written by Madison, is a sophisticated drama. Spinnin is a short film complete with a minute of story before the song begins. And Home to Another One, which was co-directed and written by Madison, is a retro sci-fi, where she's an alien with a cheating boyfriend. This concept might seem out of place when you listen to the song. It doesn't really give spacey vibes, but Madison has said that she feels like an alien sometimes. She has a song called Homesick, where she feels like she's from another planet. And so that's why she's an alien in this video, since it's called Home to Another One. She just connected the two, and the spacey inspiration just expanded from there. This variety makes her music videos interesting, stylistic, and dynamic. They aren't all the same. You never know what you're gonna get with a Madison Beer music video, which makes it all the more fun. This is probably because Madison doesn't just like to make mini movies, she's obsessed with watching movies. And she has great taste. She favors psychological thrillers like The Prestige and Shutter Island, two movies I would definitely recommend, but her favorite movie is Fight Club. She even has a song about it. I don't think she's referenced this movie yet in a video, I could be wrong, but she has referenced many others. The Hurts Like Hell video is inspired by her love for American Horror Story, which is a creepy show about the supernatural. Dear Society and Good and Goodbye are inspired by Black Mirror, which is a fantastic series of self-contained episodes about the social dangers of technology and alternate futures. Good and Goodbye specifically looks like a mix of the Playtest and Striking Vipers episodes. Her music video for Selfish, which was written, created, and co-directed by Madison, is inspired by Alice in Wonderland. She originally wanted to reference a scene where Alice cries and swims in her tears, but she didn't have enough budget for that, so she settled on a simplistic version. Showed Me, How I Fell in Love with You, is clearly a Bond reference. The song is about copying someone's charismatic power. Madison learns from the Bond stand-in and beats him at his own game. There's poker, a sexy water reveal, a car explosion. There's nothing more Bond than this music video. I do kind of wish they picked a different actor though, because he kind of looks a little stiff. There's also Spinnin's influence from The Truman Show, which is a movie about a man whose entire life is filmed for TV, only he doesn't know it. Except Madison is an outsider in the opposite way. Instead of everyone being in on a secret that you don't know about, she's the only one that exists and knows about what's happening in this town. And I'm pretty sure the ending shot with a few frames of a bird flying away is a nod to the last shot in Inception. I swear I heard her say this in an interview somewhere, but I could not find it. I'm pretty sure this is the reference though. I won't spoil the ending of Inception, but this is one of the best endings in cinematic history. Even Home to Another One's aesthetic was influenced by several retro sci-fis, including Barbarella, E.T., Star Trek, Maniac, and the Black Mirror episode USS Callister. But the most obvious movie reference is her video for Make You Mine, which was co-directed by Madison. This is essentially the movie Jennifer's Body in 4 minutes. Madison looks so much like a young Megan Fox, so if she were gonna recreate any movie, this is the perfect one to do that. She matches the iconic hallway walk, the locker scene with Needy, the swimming scene, the weird eye thing. I was so excited when I first saw this. But upon reflection of this music video, there are some things I wish she did differently, but I'm gonna save that for the end of the video. All these movie references help us connect to her as an artist because you can tell they're included out of love, which makes her videos feel genuine. But a reference may be one thing. Can you create your own cinematic shots? An impactful music video will evoke emotion and be memorable. Crucially, because these are music videos, the visuals have to match and elevate the music. The lighting for Selfish does this perfectly. This song is about Madison trying to carefully stitch someone back together, but the person doesn't want to be fixed. It's written about an ex and also her dad. In the beginning, the lights turn on in unison with the violins. It's so beautiful. This shot actually became her album cover, and I love it so much. The light softly pulses in the verses and then circles her in the chorus. Then towards the bridge of the song, the light becomes very bright and then turns to lightning as the music gets louder and crescendos. The timing of this is so perfect. I really wish I could play you the music video to see what I mean, but I haven't figured out how to get around that on YouTube, so you'll just have to watch that video after you finish my video. This music video, it's so simple, but it's one of my favorites. It's also her second most viewed music video, so I think that says a lot. Her most viewed video is Reckless, which is a song about an ex's deceitfulness, and this video is visually impactful for its sets and environments. And it's 10 times more visually impressive when you learn that Madison had to fund most of it herself, since her label didn't believe in the song. Joke's on them though, because this is now her most popular song. The beginning of the song sounds like a music box, so she starts in one and is the size of a fairy. She falls down and walks through a garden of daisies. It's innocent and matches how vulnerable she feels. I wouldn't be surprised if this was also another reference to Alice in Wonderland. The book she climbs upon is a real set piece and matches the lyrics that read like a story. As she sings, the pages turn on a smaller book, which changes her environment. The environments too change with the lyrics. Paper mache houses appear when she sings hotel. A crack appears when she sings hell. She stands on a speeding car when she's singing about recklessness. Madison also glows like Tinkerbell, and the night sky is dreamy but dark. It gives the aesthetic of a sad bedtime fairy tale. The entirety of this video is just as enchanting as this song. There are also other memorable shots in her videos, like the spinning camera in the washing machine for Spinnin, and there are several shots of her on this hell throne in Baby that just look so powerful. I think the ending shots for her videos though are some of her best. In Selfish, she drowns in this heavy rain, which is essentially her sadness, and it's just so visually heartbreaking. But then in Reckless, after almost drowning from her own recklessness, she resurfaces among her story, so she's a survivor. It's a bit more hopeful. There's also an alternate ending where this doesn't happen, and it's even more hopeful, but I kind of like the original the best. The last shot in her video for Dangerous, which was co-directed by Madison, is also so beautiful. When the lights turn back on and the musicians leave, she's just there, pretty, successful, but alone. And obviously, who doesn't like an ending with a slow motion explosion? Another cinematic element that these videos showcase is Madison's acting ability. In Selfish specifically, there are a couple of very long takes of Madison that are just so captivating. There's one take after the first chorus, and half of it is just her emotion and no words before she starts singing again. And if you can remain in character and keep me invested without any cuts, that is so impressive. There's a couple of other really long shots in this music video, plus 90% of them are all close-ups and just focus on her emotions. emotions. The breakdown she has in Spinnin' I think is pretty good too. One note that I do have though on this point is that sometimes it seems she's too concerned with looking good, but she really doesn't have to be. The moments where she shines in her acting are when she looks a little off, like her nostrils might flare a little bit or her face is a bit contorted. There are other times when she's emotional and it doesn't seem as believable because I think she's afraid to just go there, but she definitely can. She just needs to let loose a little bit more. However, I think that's only in the emotional scenes though, because she definitely has that seductive face down to a science. She can give curiosity, love, scheming, annoyed with a single look. Since Madison isn't a dancer, I think exploring so many characters is another way to give performance. She also does her own stunts, which is pretty admirable. So originally the next section was explaining Madison's visual brand and fashion in her videos and why it's actually the one element that's weak, but it ended up being really long and just completely derailed the point of the video. So the bad news is I decided to cut it. The good news is that I'm actually gonna make a part 2, a mini one. It's not gonna be super long because I still think you'd find it quite interesting. I compare her brand and style to movie archetypes and then suggest ways to make it more consistent. But for now, I will give you a couple of my favorite looks. I love how all her outfits in Showed Me are black, like a villain. Then she proceeds to blow up his car. I like how she starts in white and ends in white for Baby. White is often associated with innocence and new beginnings. I love how she wears a fragile looking one piece in Selfish to match the stitching theme of the song. I love her black drop waist in Dangerous. It just gives sad princess so perfectly. And I also just love her in a drop waist. This silhouette to me is so beautiful on Madison. And I, of course, adore her doll-like reckless dress and the entire aesthetic of Boyshit simply because they're cute. And I'm gonna save the rest for the next video. But on the topic of improvements, while I love a lot of Madison's videos, there are a few that are weaker in general. I think these include her earlier videos like Dead and Say It to My Face. They're not bad by any means, but she kind of just sits there and looks pretty, and I just prefer when she has a story to tell. Home With You is also a bit chaotic for me. I love that she edited it, but stylistically, it's just not my favorite. But she was an independent artist at this time with no label to back her, so I can forgive her for this. But Sweet Relief, which was co-directed by Madison, and she also did her own makeup and was her own stylist for this video. This is a newer video, and I do like that it's nostalgic vibes, but it's nothing groundbreaking. The shower scenes feel so misplaced to me among these teenage summer shots. At one point, I genuinely thought she was supposed to be in this car wash. Clearly, that's not the case, but I think my brain was just searching for a reason of why is she in this shower. She did end up saying on Twitter that she was in the shower because it just looked hot and sexy, which I guess I can't argue with that. But I just think this video is sort of underwhelming given her other creative concepts. But make you mine. Like I mentioned before, I loved this video when it came out, and I still like it. I just wish we went a little further for such an iconic moments. For one thing, the story. I would have killed this guy later on in the video because she kills him halfway through, and then the last half of the video is just a bunch of the same shots over and over and over again, and we kind of miss any storytelling at all. So I would have had him dance with Madison at the club, maybe showing Madison seduce him a little bit more, maybe showing the girl helping her kill the boy, and then Madison dances with the girl. That would give a new twist to the movie. I think she just wanted to kill him here because the lyrics say screaming, and then there's a girl that screams in the video. So I get the vision, but I just think it would have been better if he died later. But I think the biggest flaw I have with this video is just the art style. Something about this looks so artificial and bright for a horror movie and a dark pop song. The gym's lighting is quite flat, and these shots by the lockers, for some reason, the camera is stationary. I really wish I could play you this song because the beat of the song just does not call for a stationary camera. I think we needed some sort of zoom in or some sort of panning. The clubbing scenes are a lot better with matching the motion to the beat of the song, but just these locker shots, I don't know. Lastly, I wish Madison wore some pink in this hallway scene, or maybe even whites, because there was a thematic point to why Jennifer looked so girly and innocent, and I discussed that in my video. And maybe if she threw in a white puffer look, that would have just perfected the costume references for me. That being said, I love every single shot in this pool. The lighting is beautiful. She looks beautiful. This whole section is mesmerizing. And I also love pretty much every other video of Madison's, so there's really not that many misses that she has for me. If you remember my popstar positioning matrix from my Sabrina Carpenter video, I placed Madison in the trend-setting category, which is far from visionary. And if you want a more in-depth explanation of how this graph works, you can go watch my Sabrina video, but very briefly, this is not a ranking system. So this is not meant to say which artists are better than the other artists. It's just a way to visualize where artists fit in the industry. And they can move depending on public perception. I placed Madison here, not because she isn't creative, but because she isn't known for being creative. There is still this perception that she is an Instagram model, but clearly she is so much more. She puts so much effort into her projects and deserves recognition and credit for that. Obviously, the other half, which is arguably the most essential piece, is her music, which is kind of beyond the scope of this video. I didn't want to go too far off track, but to me, she's a really beautiful singer. Her last album was nominated for a Grammy. Reckless has 500,000 streams. Make You Mine is really popping off right now. So she definitely has potential to break out just a little more than where she's currently at. And this is also not her music video, but Madison voiced the character Evelyn in the fictional girl group KDA, which is a band made from characters of the League of Legends video game. Madison's character specifically has her own song called Villain, and I love this visualizer so much. This is what I imagine the aesthetic of Midnight to be. And I know in my last video I said I was Rapunzel, and I am, but this is also me. By the way, if you didn't see my community post, I was just in Disney World and I did see Flynn Rider, highlight of my life. We did not get married, but that's okay. He did look at me and that was enough. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing up this KDA is because if Madison ever watches this video, Madison, I need you to go back to Riot Games and demand a new KDA album. We're close enough, we could maybe put it in the credits for Arcane Season 2, which I'm also so excited is coming out because that's like one of my favorite TV shows. I don't even play League of Legends and somehow Riot Games just makes my favorite things. I will have to talk about it one day, but in the meantime, Madison, please request that. I would be so grateful. Anyways, look out for part 2 where we'll discuss her visual identity and fashion. And I hope you have a good night and thank you so much for watching.